I'm sure all of you are familiar, but just in case there's anyone out there listening who isn't, Snapchat is this messaging app where you can send pictures and videos to your friends, but you only have 10 seconds to view them before they disappear. I have to admit, I was pretty hooked on it for a while, and probably used it more than I should have. It's like a daily amusement park for me. But let's dive into this one weird night when things went from ordinary to downright strange. I was just sitting around watching my new favorite YouTube channel, The Dark Diaries, when the urge hit me to do something different. I got the idea to jump on Omegle. Now again, if you're not up to date on internet stuff, Omegle is like a online random chat platform where you can video chat with complete strangers. There's just one catch. It's known for being kind of sketchy, from uncensored content to loads of spam. I was almost ready to call it quits and get back to TV when fate decided to play its card, dealing me a hand that'll leave me totally ecstatic or just outright creeped out. But I was going to find out which. And there she was, in the dark, her face illuminated only by a little dim light, and not saying anything at all. I was half expecting a prank, and the silence hung in the air like a puff of smoke before she broke out with a simple,
"Hello?"
Not what I anticipated, but it definitely got my attention. And then comes a text. Add me on Snapchat. Username Sarah Sings 1832. Well, I'm not one to shy away from a mystery, so I sent her a friend request without thinking too much. And just as quickly as she appeared, she disappeared, leaving me to wonder what this was really all about. With a connection made, I went back to YouTube. The night slipped by and I finally dozed off. As the sun peeked through the window, I was awakened by a barrage of Snapchat notifications. A flood of snaps from Sarah Sings 1832. I was ready for the fleeting images, so I was taken back when the first picture pops up. It's a shot of her, captioned, "On my way, baby." I reply with a simple, "Drive safe, LOL," but I'm starting to wonder what's going on with this girl. As the day goes on, the snaps keep coming, each one revealing another step of her journey. At first, they're pretty mundane. Her at red lights, the road stretching out ahead, everything blurring by. It was getting annoying if I could be honest. And then came something that gave me goosebumps. She's near a CVS and a strip mall that's right in my neighborhood. Suddenly, the line between my screen and the real world started to blur, and I started to freak out, wondering how she could possibly know where I live. I mean, this can't be a coincidence. And here's where things get intense. The snaps keep getting creepier. A picture shows her entering my neighborhood along with the message, "Get ready." At this point, I go into a total state of panic. And then in a dramatic climax, the final snap arrives. A short, eerie video of her standing in front of my house, her camera pointed right at my home. Acting on instinct, I run into the bedroom furthest from the street and reach out to the cops, explaining the bizarre series of events. I sat on the floor of the bedroom, staring at my phone, waiting for the next image to pop up, but nothing ever did. After 10 minutes or so, I slowly ventured back to the house and went to the living room to look out to the front yard. And to my relief, there was nobody there. By the time the cops showed up, there really wasn't a whole lot left to do. I told them the story, and they just told me to call them if anything further comes from it. It didn't appear that any crime had been committed or any real threat made to my life or my safety. I suppose they were correct legally, but I certainly didn't feel that way. The days after that were tense, and every cell phone ping made me jump. Needless to say, I took a short break from social media, but I eventually went back to it. Reflecting on it, I rationalized that it must have all been a prank, but it still freaks me out because I can't understand just how that girl knew who I was and where I lived, and then why she actually took the time to do what she did. My name is Julian. My friends call me Jules, and I'm 31 years old now. But this happened to me over 10 years ago, when I was only 21 and still trying to figure out the dating game. So the story I'm about to tell you made me forever question what's real and how far people will go for a bit of excitement.
Hinge wants you to meet someone great.
At that time, I was all caught up in my friends' stories about meeting cool people on dating apps. Got me curious, you know? There was this new one that everyone was talking about, Hinge. So I thought, why not give it a shot? The profiles on there were like windows into someone's soul with creative questions and facts about their life. It felt a bit voyeuristic to me, like I could figure out who someone was before even saying a word. I liked it though, and it was a total change from the usual swipe and judge routine. In the middle of all these different people, there was this girl, Chandra. She was crazy cute, with green eyes, dark brown hair, and a smile that lit me up inside. Without thinking about it another second, I tapped that heart icon. My message was short and sweet. I love your smile. Fingers crossed, I sent it hoping to get a response that would kickstart something. Less than 20 minutes later, a notification lit up my screen. Chandra has invited you to start the conversation. I was floored and slightly skeptical, but it was game on. Our conversations flowed effortlessly. We differ on opinions here and there, but there was definitely some sparks, on my end anyway, and I was anxious to meet her in person. Finally, the big day came. She even sent me a pic of her outfit, claiming that it was so I would know it was her, but I'm sure it's because she looked incredible in that tight yellow dress. I was pumped, but nervous as well, because I didn't want to do or say anything to screw this up. So I get to the bar early, just to make sure that I didn't get stuck in traffic. Man, waiting was torture. Every tick of the clock felt like forever, and anxiety was totally wrapping me up. 10 minutes stretched into 15, and then dragged into 20. I started to worry, was she going to stand me up? To stop myself from going nuts, I texted her, asking when she would get there, but no reply. Her usual text turned into dead silence. With the risk of seeming overwhelmingly anxious, I decided to call her, hoping she'd pick up and calm me down. But nope, no answer, and no way to even leave a message this time. I had a sinking feeling, but I held on to a little hope that maybe she couldn't answer because she was driving or something. But honestly, when you're desperate, being logical isn't the first thing on your mind. And that's when, right in the middle of all this uncertainty, the craziest thing went down. Chandra sent me a message that totally messed me up. She admitted she wasn't really Chandra, and worse, she wasn't even a girl. The message concluded with a bunch of laughing emojis. I felt like I got punched in the gut, like she was a real person who stabbed me in the back. And then I started getting a little paranoid, like maybe this person was watching me. They said I looked cuter in person. Someone's sick game just graduated to a whole new level. I looked around to try to find any clue of the person who messed with my mind, but the place was crowded, and everyone looked suspicious to me at that moment. Rather than hanging around any longer and continue to be the punchline of someone's joke, I grabbed my stuff and got out of there. On the ride home, I got a pic of me sitting at the bar, scanning the room, looking like a scared and wet puppy. I looked pathetic. Whoever it was had been super close, but I couldn't recall all the faces or try to narrow it down to a specific perpetrator. I felt like my privacy got violated, like someone took away something really personal from me. I was both angry and humiliated at the thought of someone watching me and enjoying their creepy little game. After that messed up day, I stayed away from dating apps for years, and even now, I approach these apps expecting a lot less from the person than what's on their profile. In my life, I've been through 3 significant relationships. The first, at the age of 15, and we were together for nearly 3 years. My college days introduced me to my second girlfriend, Emily. We got along great, but it just wasn't going anywhere, so we broke up my last year of school. Enter my third girlfriend, Sarah. Sarah and I crossed paths on a dating app. Discovering that we attended the same college sparked our initial conversation. Our relationship started slowly, and for a month or so, all we did was share stories of college life and acquaintances that we knew, and meet for an occasional lunch or night out. The connection seemed so effortless, almost too easy in fact. In time though, our connection deepened, and we eventually became exclusive. The honeymoon phase, as I will call it, faded quickly, and Emily started to exhibit some controlling tendencies along with some serious mood swings. To make things worse, she suddenly decided that she wasn't one to socialize, and stopped speaking and seeing the few friends that she had when we first met. This led to an obsession of her tracking my every move. If I spent time with my friends, she bombarded me with text messages, demanding proof of my whereabouts, and would even call me to ask to speak to one of my guy friends, just to confirm that that's who I was with. Needless to say, this got old pretty quick, and my hope that this was a passing phase never materialized, In fact, her jealousy escalated. If I dared to visit a bar without her, it would trigger her anger. Her possessiveness reached a breaking point when a minor disagreement erupted into a heated argument outside of my house. That night marked the end of our relationship as I realized the toxicity was too much to bear. The breakup only fueled her fury though, and seriously messed up messages filled my inbox daily, ranging from bitterness to alleged regret to even the occasional over-the-top apology and a request for us to give it a second try. I discussed the situation with some of my friends just to get some advice on what to do. This girl was obviously emotionally unstable, and I was starting to get a little worried. My friend told me not to worry about it though, because he had heard that she had a new boyfriend and suspected that she would eventually stop contacting me and move on. This new boyfriend of hers is apparently the friend of a friend, and supposedly a really bad guy, with several arrests for domestic violence, so I don't have high hopes for that relationship to work out. Regardless, at this point, I just blocked her number and moved on and tried my best to forget about her. One night, I was down at one of the local cantinas having some drinks with some friends when some guy came up to me to introduce himself as Sarah's new boyfriend and warned me to stay away from her and threatened me with violence if I ever contacted her again. I have to admit I could have responded to the situation a little better, but after a few too many drinks, I became a little belligerent and got in his face. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I know it wasn't good. I remember him pushing me up against the wall before storming out of the bar. A few days later, my car was vandalized in the middle of the night, with all 4 tires slashed and a broken windshield. And when I checked the security cameras on the car, sure enough, it was Sarah's new boyfriend. He wasn't even trying to hide his face. I called the cops to file a report and gave them the information that I had and sent over the video. When the cops went to confront him, apparently he resisted arrest and was subsequently booked for that as well as the vandalism. After his arrest, I learned that there were text conversations on his phone between him and Sarah where she was accusing me of harassing her and that he had, quote, plans for me. The cops wouldn't give me any more details or information except to tell me that I was lucky that he was arrested when he was. Sarah dropped out of school and moved back home shortly after his arrest. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison for several charges plus his priors. I don't know how long he actually served, but I never did hear from either one of them again.